So for those of you who didn't see my video explaining what the Amazon Associates program is and how it's going to work with this channel, let me do a brief recap on that for a moment. So Amazon has created a program called the Amazon Associates program that helps YouTube creators such as myself in a way to monetize our channel. Because as you probably know, YouTube has become stricter and stricter about what they want to monetize on YouTube for their platform. It's becoming very hard for YouTube creators to make money from their videos the way they used to, or to grow their channels with income the way that they used to. The reason why is they're saying it's not advertiser friendly. Point in case, when you report the subjects that mainstream media doesn't talk about, it's not advertiser friendly. So they won't monetize your videos. So if you do shopping on Amazon, if you make purchases, you go to the link below, you click on it, it takes you to Amazon just like you normally would go to Amazon. You can then search for whatever product it is you wanted to buy, and by making that purchase after clicking on the link, this channel will get a commission of that sale. And it is a great way to help support this channel and help us spread our message and grow this channel so that we can reach more and more people out there. So we thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoy the video. So we're going to have a flashback video today. We've obviously covered the whole Medicare for All issue a lot on this channel, but I stumbled across a clip watching recently. Jimmy Dore just actually made a video about this as well, at one of his stand-up specials. But there was a very key figure who gave a very interesting speech almost 60 years ago about getting health care to the people, and how the United States has fallen behind in its efforts because this is something that Europe at that point had done almost 30 years ago. So let's take a look at that clip and do a review.
In halls such as this, where your predecessors, where Dave Dubinsky himself actually stood, where another former president stood, and fought this issue out of Social Security against the same charges. This argument that the government should stay out, that it saps our pioneer stock. I used to hear that argument when we were talking about raising the minimum wage to $1.25. I remember one day being asked to step out into the hall, and up the corridor came four distinguished-looking men with straw hats on and canes. They told me they had just flown in from a state in their private plane, and they wanted me to know that if we passed a bill providing for time and a half for service station attendants, who were then working about 55 to 60 hours at straight time, it would sap their self-reliance. The fact of the matter is, what saps anyone's self-reliance is working 60 hours at straight time, or working at 85 or 95 or $1 an hour. I understand that there's going to be a program this week against this bill in which an English physician is going to come and talk about how bad their plans are. It may be, but he ought to talk about it in England, because his plan and what they do in England is entirely different. In England, the entire cost of medicine for people of all ages, all of it, doctors, the choice of doctors, hospitals, from the time you're born to the time you die, are included in a government program. But what we're talking about is entirely different. And I hope that while he's here, he and Dr. Spock and others who have joined us will come to see what we're trying to do. The fact of the matter is that what we are now talking about doing, most of the countries of Europe did years ago. The British did it 30 years ago. We are behind every country pretty nearly in Europe in this matter of medical care for our citizens. And then those who say that this should be left to private effort. In those hospitals in New Jersey where the doctors said they wouldn't treat anyone, who paid their hospital bills through Social Security, those hospitals and every other new hospital, the American people, all of us, contribute 1/2, 1 or 2/3 for every new hospital, the national government. We pay 55% of all the research done. We help young men become doctors. We are concerned with the progress of this country. And those who say that what we are now talking about spoils our great pioneer heritage should remember that the West was settled with 2 great actions by the national government. One, in President Lincoln's administration, when he gave a homestead to everyone who went west, and in 1862 he set aside government property to build our land-grant colleges. This cooperation between an alert and progressive citizenry and a progressive government is what has made this country great, and we shall continue as long as we have the opportunity to do so.
So, let that sink in for just a moment. This is something that President Kennedy was talking about almost 60 years ago. Does that tell you just how behind the times all these politicians are when it comes to getting health care to the people? And I love that line, you know, they're sending a physician to complain about how things are in England. Well, fine, go complain about it in England. England's system, the hospitals, all of it is controlled by the government. The one that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that more or less will be set up in this country would not be a complete seizure of the entire system by the federal government. It is the hospitals and all of those groups can be owned by, you know, private industry, you know, private business, whatever. But the health insurance, you know, provider is the federal government to the people. Okay. That's more or less just the way that the whole thing is going to work. And so President Kennedy was envisioning this almost 60 years ago, talking about it. And yet you still have people, even in the Democratic Party today, you know, who sit there because they've got, you know, big pharma and the big insurance companies filling their pockets and don't want to get it done. That's why you get Joe Biden on the stage saying, oh, it just can't be done. It costs too much. It costs too much. But America can do anything they want when they put their mind to it. Of course, he didn't say that all at one time. You break it down into context for you. One part of the debate, he was saying that America was so strong, could do anything that we put our minds to. There's nothing that America can't do. And then later in the debate, I can't remember which one came first, but in that very same debate, it was, oh, this is just too much. It can't be done. It costs too much money. It's just not feasible. Blah, blah. Wait a minute. I thought there was nothing America couldn't do if we put our minds to it. And again, to me, the whole financial argument, how's it going to be paid for? It costs too much. It costs too much. Then how do other countries do it and spend less money per capita than the United States? Something doesn't add up with all that to me. But I found this clip to be very interesting, so I figured, you know, I would make a short video today, getting it out there as a flashback, you know, video for the day, just to show just how long an issue like this has been included in the talks, and just how far back people were contemplating this idea that still people today call radical, even though many, many, many other countries in the rest of the developed world have that program. So this is something, until the people put their foot down and we get more honest people in Capitol Hill, these companies are doing everything in their power to keep all this income for themselves and to not have to give any more of it back to the American people than they're going to be required to. They're greedy, and these politicians, the majority of them are in their pocket. People like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, but this is not a radical idea, and it is not something that is just completely unfeasible and unheard of, because as you just saw, this was something President Kennedy envisioned over half a century ago. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Independent Report. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and like the video. Also, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop a comment in the comment box below. And also, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell so you'll stay up to date when we drop new videos and you'll get notifications of it. And also, please support us on Patreon. Funds are going to be used to grow and improve this channel so we can reach more and more people and spread the message that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell people. We hope you'll tune in next time.